Fabulous. Great. Great. Well, okay. And Lisa is sharing. She's an integrative health practitioner in Wisconsin. Wonderful. Thank you for being here, Lisa. Okay, well, I'll get started. This webinar is being recorded, so keep that in mind. If you would like to ask questions, you can do that during the talk. You can put them in the chat if you'd like, or you can unmute yourself if you wish to. That's totally fine. We'll also have time for questions at the end. If you have a more involved question or you want like a longer answer or more in-depth answer, we'll have time for that at the end. But let's get started. Let's see. Victoria is saying, I always like learning more about Ayurveda. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, I love sharing about Ayurveda, so I'm really glad to be here. Okay, so today, Ayurveda for health professionals. What will we be getting into? First, a disclaimer. So I am not a medical doctor, and Ayurveda is not a replacement for Western medicine. If you need a medical doctor, or if your client needs a medical doctor, you should always refer them to one. In India, Ayurveda is a little bit different than how it's practiced here, and I'll share a little bit about that. But just keep it in mind that everybody wants a holistic alternative, but there should never be a replacement for Western medicine. So thank you for bearing with me on that. Okay, my name is Jennifer Macklin. I live in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I'm a massage therapist and an Ayurvedic practitioner. I have attained the title of Vaidya, which you may or may not be aware of this word. Vaidya is essentially, it means an Ayurvedic physician. My training is such that I have achieved one of the first stepping stones for practicing Ayurveda in India. I am the founder of a practice called perimenopause massage therapy and Ayurveda. I have found that most of the people that have come to me in the past 4 or 5 years have been women between the ages of 40 and 70. So, many of them are, in that age bracket where they're entering or even experiencing early the symptoms of menopause. I have been involved with Ayurveda in the United States for a number of years, since about 2014. I learned about Ayurveda when I graduated from college. I was experiencing anxiety and panic attacks, and I didn't want to take pharmaceuticals. So I tried a lot of different things, and what worked for me was Ayurveda. And I was fascinated and hooked and couldn't stop reading about it and learning about it and trying different recipes um, and doing the therapies that were recommended to me. They really made a big difference on my health in a very impactful way. I never experienced the panic attacks again. My anxiety lessened quite a bit, and I felt for the first time in my life grounded and really complete in my body. So we'll learn about the body types today, and the webinar will be for about an hour and a half. So we'll have plenty of time to look at this. Again, there will be a recording too, so if you can't stay for the whole time, we hope you can, but if you can't stay for the whole time, please know that that there will be a recording you can watch. Prior to becoming a practitioner, I founded a directory website for Ayurvedic practitioners called Ayurveda Next Door. And this website was purchased by a company in India called the Ayurveda Experience. They make beautiful, wonderful skincare products, and they sell them throughout the United States. If somebody is, if you could put yourself on mute, that would be great. Thank you so much. Okay. So I have learned in my own journey with Ayurveda that health is not something that you achieve and then you're done, right? I mean, this is a very simplistic way of looking at life. I had thought in my youth that once I was healthy, I would just be healthy, but that's not the case. Ayurveda And well, not even, you don't even have to be an Ayurvedic person or involved with Ayurveda to know this, but health is something that has to be worked at on a daily basis. And this was a little bit of a surprise to me. But it's also a very important aspect of Ayurveda. Yeah, so what will we talk about today? So you'll learn to define and describe Ayurveda in your own words. I hope I can help you add to your lexicon and to your ability to talk about Ayurveda. Um, you'll also learn about the doshas and about Ayurvedic theory. And then you'll learn to determine your body type and possibly the body types of other people. And finally, we'll look at creating an Ayurvedic food and lifestyle routine so you can see how to apply some of these basic principles. So there are some common misconceptions about Ayurveda, especially in the United States. In let's see, people typically think that Ayurveda is a New Age phenomenon, a New Age practice. It's not. It's quite ancient. It's probably the oldest system of health and healing on the planet. It's known to be approximately 4 to 5 thousand years old, and so for that reason, it's time tested. There are researchers in India and in the United States and all over the world, really, doing research on Ayurveda. But it's I think it's real. A lot of weight comes with it being time tested. These practices have been done for thousands and thousands of years, and it's quite amazing to see them in practice, to see to put these principles into practice, and to see people's health improve. Ayurveda is also often thought of as a spa treatment or as part of a spa. What can be offered in a spa? And there are a lot of body treatments done in Ayurveda. Again, I'm a massage therapist, so I do a lot of these treatments. But they're done with intention and they're done for therapeutic value. They're not necessarily comfortable. They're not necessarily relaxing. And, they can be depending on what's needed. But they are not always falling into this category of spa treatment. Um, Ayurveda is also not a vegetarian practice. Sometimes it is commonly thought that it is vegetarian or that you have to be vegetarian to follow Ayurveda. That's not true. You can eat meat and use animal products and follow an Ayurvedic diet and lifestyle. Um, uh, Animal products are even sometimes used in body treatments. It's also not necessary that you have a diet that is rich with Indian spices and curries. Some people like these spices, and some people do not. And it's not necessary that you follow this particular diet in order to use Ayurveda effectively. In fact, the diet that you grew up with is a diet that should be followed because it's considered healthy for you, simply because you are accustomed to it. And of course, it's a healthy version of the diet you grew up with, right? That is what is considered healthy for you. Ayurveda is not necessarily religious. It's not a Hindu perspective on life or medicine or health. It understands that all people have various perspectives on religion. That some people are naturally spiritual, some people are not, and this also falls in line with the body types. And it doesn't come from Hinduism. It actually predates Hinduism by a couple thousand years. So it's not a religious system. Um, again, what is Ayurveda? Ayurveda is a Sanskrit word. It means science of health or science of living or science of life. It is, again, it's ancient. It comes from the land that is India. It is completely holistic. And it works by using food and lifestyle adjustments, Ayurvedic supplements, body treatments, and detoxification processes. And these are the methods for bringing the body back into a state of balance. There is a purpose to Ayurveda. The word purpose is artha in Sanskrit. So the purpose of Ayurveda is to maintain the health of those people who are healthy, for health maintenance. It is also to alleviate disorders of those who are not well. And it is to eradicate disease. Because we all have goals in life. We all have a dharma. We all have our own artha, our own purpose. We all have kama. We have desires in life, things that we want, things that we want to do or want to achieve or acquire. And then we all will experience various levels of moksha, which is liberation from suffering. So these are the goals of life, and Ayurveda is there to help you achieve these goals. So if you don't have health, it becomes difficult to do these things. So this is the purpose of Ayurveda. In a nutshell, it's in order to create the best life possible. This is what Ayurveda is for. I'll talk a little bit about Ayurveda in the United States versus Ayurveda in India. This is an important distinction because I think it's important for people to understand what Ayurveda can do and what its scope of practice is in India, because it's different than what it is here. So in India, if you are studying Ayurveda, you go through 5.5 years of training in order to become a Vaidya, or an Ayurvedic quote unquote doctor. After that, you can continue your studies and receive a postgraduate degree. You can even receive a master's degree, an MD degree in Ayurveda, which is a master's. So the training in India is quite different than what is available here in the United States. In India, it is regulated by the government. In the United States, it is not. There is no licensing for Ayurveda at this time in the United States. In India, there is some licensing in India. You can register with the government if you're an Ayurvedic practitioner. The government maintains a website for Ayurvedic practitioners, so you can look them up and see who is registered. Again, the education is very different in India, and there are actually specializations in Ayurveda in India. So there are specializations in ear, nose, and throat, and eye care, heart care, gynecology, and pediatrics. There are even Ayurvedic hospitals in every Indian state throughout India. And there are specialty Ayurvedic hospitals throughout every Indian state in Ayurveda in India. So it's quite a different thing over in India. In the United States, we can use these tools within our legal limits of our state, and even these simple tools can be very effective for improving health. So the tools that we have and use are food and lifestyle changes. Because Ayurveda is holistic, because the work that you do is holistic, what we need to do is let our clients know that their lifestyle is super important, because once balance is achieved, once these levels of imbalance come back to a state of balance, that balance needs to be maintained with a proper diet and lifestyle. Otherwise, imbalance will occur once again. So food and lifestyle are very important in Ayurveda. It's seasonal, it promotes balance, and it promotes health. It's also very personalized. So what is healthy for one individual is very different than what is healthy for another individual. Even two people with the same disease diagnosis will have very different diet recommendations and lifestyle recommendations. There are also in Ayurveda very detailed methods for living well, how to shower, how to exercise, what to eat, what to avoid. All of these things are very, very detailed and very fascinating and very effective. There are Ayurvedic supplements of various kinds used to bring about balance. These can be herbal powders, jams or pastes, oils, tablets, decoctions, even alcohol preparations. Lots of different types of preparations are used in Ayurveda. And then there are many different types of body treatments which are available. Massage using herbal powders, massage using warm herbal oils, poultices applied to the body. These are cloth sacks of herbal matter or sand or rice that are heated and then rubbed up and down the body to have a particular effect. And all kinds of things. A dara is a pouring of a liquid over the body. So a dara can be done, liquid can be poured over the forehead and the top of the head, or it can be poured over a particular area of the body or over the entire body. A pichu is a it's an herbal soaked cloth, like an oil soaked cloth that is applied to the body and then adhered there with a bandage so that that oil continues to penetrate that one spot over and over again. So all different kinds of body treatments are used to bring about balance. And then various detoxification processes called panchakarma, 5 actions. And this is a very specialized form of cleansing the body in Ayurveda. So lots and lots of tools. So what is Ayurveda? What does it come from, and what are these principles of Ayurvedic practice? Ayurveda is similar to Chinese medicine in that we recognize the elements of the earth, the elements of our universe, and we recognize that those elements are also operating within us. So in Ayurveda, earth, water, fire, air, and space are considered the Pancha Mahabhutas, the 5 great elements. And these elements, we can all agree, I'm sure, that these elements exist. But in Ayurveda, we believe that these elements are also a part of our own makeup. They're a part of our bodies. So we have earth in the form of our bones and our muscle mass and fat on our bodies. We have water in the form of water, liquids, lubrication, saliva. All the liquids in our bodies are in the form of water. We have fire in our bodies in the form of intelligence, metabolism, fever, heat. And we have air in our body in the form of gases. We have space in our body because there are spaces, right? There are, we have a nasal canal, we have a mouth, we have an anus. So there are spaces in the body as well as the other elements. So these elements combine in various ways to form what we call doshas. Dosha is a unique word in Ayurveda. It is a Sanskrit word and it means that which goes bad. So doshas perform all the functions of the body, all the body's karmas, functions, or actions. And when they're performing them properly, we say that they're in a state of balance. When they're aggravated or in a state of excess or deficiency, we say that these doshas are imbalanced. So the doshas are a fundamental principle of Ayurveda. They have a tendency to go bad, but they perform all the functions of the body. So we have to maintain health of the doshas in order to maintain health in the body. So there are 3 doshas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. In order to understand Ayurveda and in order to understand the body types, it's important to understand these doshas. It's not very complicated. So I hope you'll bear with me as we get into this. So the first dosha is Vata dosha, and Vata is made up of the elements of air and space. Vata is considered the most powerful of the doshas. It needs to be maintained properly in order to maintain health. So Vata is like wind. When you think of Vata, you can think of wind, and this will help you remember the qualities of Vata. Just like the wind, Vata is dry, it's light, it's cold, it's rough, it's minute, very tiny, and it's moving. And vata has certain tastes to it. It has pungency, bitterness, astringency. These are the tastes of vata. It is located primarily in the colon, and its functions in the body are all forms of movement. Anything that moves is a function of vata. So talking or blinking the eyes, beating of the heart, walking, the movement of the stool through the GI tract, all of these functions are functions of vata. When vata is imbalanced, it produces very commonly constipation, pain, all forms of pain in the body, and insomnia. These are three of the main dysfunctions of vata. Yes. So the next dosha is pitta dosha. Pitta is made of the elements of fire and water. And pitta, when you think of pitta, you can think of fire. And this will help you remember the qualities of pitta. So those qualities are sharpness, heat, hotness, lightness, bad smelling, flowing, and liquidity. So pitta is not only fire, it also has a watery, spreading quality to it. The tastes of pitta are salty, sour, and pungent. And pitta is located in the small intestine. Its functions are digestion and metabolism. And when it's out of balance, a lot of different things can happen, but they are essentially dysfunctions of heat. So fever, rash, hot flashes, exhaustion, inflammation, and certain digestive problems all are related to pitta dosha. The last dosha is kapha, and kapha is made up of water and earth. And when you think of kapha, you can think about mud. Mud is a great way of remembering what kapha's qualities are like. So kapha is cold, heavy, slow, liquid, oily, smooth, dense, and soft, just like mud or clay. The tastes of kapha are sweet and astringent, and kapha is located in the joints of the body, in the mouth, in the muscles, and in the fat. And its functions essentially are to provide mass and lubrication. It gives the body structure. Its dysfunctions, when it's out of balance, it produces weight gain, swelling, mucus production, a poor complexion, and endometriosis. There are many dysfunctions of all of these doshas, and many diseases can arise from many different types of doshas. So this is kapha. Now we all have various body types. So when we are born, each of us are born with a combination of vata, pitta, and kapha. All of us are made up of some combination of these three. The body type in Ayurveda, it gives us variation, it gives us uniqueness, and it lends a lot of information about the type of person that we are, our personality, our tendencies in life and in health, and how to. It also tells us what we need to do to maintain balance in our lives. So this is Prakriti. Prakriti is body type. It is the doshas that we are born with, and it's determined at conception. It does not change throughout life, but the imbalance can come. Of course, it will come, right? Because there's always factors working on us, from environmental to relationship to diet and lifestyle, and to disease or trauma. All of these factors will impact the doshas. So health is that state of balance of our body type. And when these doshas go into states of imbalance from whatever reason, this is when our body type becomes imbalanced, and we need to get back to that original state of dosha that we are. So you can see that that health is very personalized in Ayurveda, and why that journey towards health is different for everyone. So we can talk about the body types now. There is a handout for you on the body types. Um, uh, so hopefully Michelle can put that in the chat for us. If not, I can stick it in later too. It did also go to your email, so there's 3 handouts that went to you. Thank you so much for sharing. Yep. So your body type. So the first one is the Vata body type. Vata types are wide awake. They hate the cold. They tend to be unlucky in life because they don't have a lot of stability. They may have cracks in their hands and feet, and they may have scanty and dry hair. In relationships, they have a hard time committing. So this is in loving relationships or in friendships or could be work relationships. They have a hard time staying with something. And they are delicate in build and delicate in strength. They're the weakest of the 3 body types. They have abundant veins visible on their arms and legs, and they tend to be very talkative people. Their eyes and their gaze moves frequently when they're talking, and they often have asymmetrical physical features. So of course we're very symmetrical in how we are put together, but a Vata body type may, in their expressions, in the way that they talk, they may show asymmetry, and so you'll see it there. They grind their teeth. This is natural for them, and they are quick to act without a plan. And emotionally, they tend towards fear. They can also be very possessive in their emotional nature, and they struggle to express gratitude. This is very difficult for them. They're also uncertain, they can be disorganized, and they can be unsettled. And this is a normal state. It's not easy, but it's normal for them. Vata types are slow to build wealth, and they're never satisfied. They're just never happy, never finding that happiness very easily. They love music, and they can be harsh. They can feel harsh. Maybe they don't. Maybe they are not coming across as harsh, but they can feel harsh inside. And they tend to have just a few friendships. And in their dreams, they tend to experience anxiety or agitation. So you can take a moment, and maybe you're thinking of yourself or you're thinking of people you know who fit this description. But to check your own property, your own body type, what you can do is you can take a moment and see how many of these how many of these are describe me. And it can be difficult to look at this and think, oh gosh, am I quick to act without a plan? Do I have asymmetrical physical features? It can be hard to tell sometimes. But try going through this once on your own. And then you can also do this with a friend or a colleague, and see, what do they think? Do they think that you have, these qualities or these features? And you can see, um, yeah, it's a wonderful thing to learn more about yourself. It's part of the healing journey, and Ayurveda has a really nice way of giving people understanding of their body type and who they are and how to care for themselves. So let's talk about Pitta. So Pitta Prakriti, Pitta body types, they tend to have a body odor. This is normal for them. Their bodily limbs may be loose or yellowish, and they have a coppery color to the nails, the eyes, the palate, the tongue, the lips, the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet. You can also see this in their hair sometimes. So this coppery color, this orangish coppery, um, is there in pittas. You'll see it now that we're talking about it. We tend not to think about copper as a color that we apply to our physical features in this culture. But now that I'm using that word, I bet you'll start to see it in different places. Pittas tend to have asymmetrical features, just like Vata, but they tend to look angry or agitated or unhappy. they tend to experience premature wrinkles, early graying, and balding, and they tend to hate the heat. They will have a moderate build and a moderate strength, and they tend towards diseases of the mouth, like things like cold sores. Um, Pitta types sweat easily, and they have frequent excessive meals or frequent eating. They like to eat a snack throughout the day, and they're very intelligent. They're very clever, very astute. They can be very aggressive or very independent, and they enjoy public speaking. This is a common thing for pittas. They are competitive in nature. They are the people that go to the yoga class and they're checking out the people next to them and say, "Oh, I'm doing it better than that person over there." um, and when they get upset, it comes on quickly. So they quickly increase in agitation and they quickly calm down. This is very common in Pitta. Pitta types do not give in to fear, and they are harsh on people who are disobedient. They like rules. Um, they are, if people are following the rules, they're very kind to them. If people are not following the rules, they will be like, "Hey, you got to get back in line. You have to follow these rules." Um, and they have dreams of jewelry, wealth, fire, and lightning. I assume that you're thinking of some Pitta types now, right? Um, so I have a cat that is a Pitta Prakriti, and my husband is also a Pitta Prakriti as well. So my cat is very independent. She's in and out of the house all day long. I can't hold on to her for anything really, for any length of time. She has see, she has a fighting nature, and she's definitely very intelligent. She has a little bit of a coppery color to her, and she has this asymmetry in her facial features at times. But the main thing that I see in her is this independence that is a hallmark of Pitta. Um, my husband is was bald very young in life. In his 20s, he was bald, and yeah, he's very intelligent. He was a teacher at one point, so he liked public talk, public speaking. He's a very competitive. Yeah, fits a lot of these Pitta type characteristics. Yeah. So there's a question in the chat. Are the body types genetic? Are they handed down? Yes. So the body types they come from uh, maybe I think five or so different places. So the body types are determined at conception. So they come from the diet of the mother, and they come from the body type of the mother and the father, and they come from the parents' state of balance. Are the other parents balanced in their prakriti, in their body type, or are they imbalanced? And then there is some part of the dosha that is sort of that does not come from anything, that is inherent with the child that is born. Um, and where else? There may be some other place that the doshas come from, but this is sort of generally what they are derived from. So they are genetic, yes. Um, so let's talk about kapha. So kapha is the third body type. Kaphas have a beautiful complexion. I had a client this morning for a massage. She had gorgeous, gorgeous skin, but kapha prakriti, so it comes with its own challenges. All of the body types, they come with their own challenges. One is not necessarily better than the other. They all have their strengths and weaknesses, and they all need to be nurtured in their own ways. Kapha, though, I will say, is considered the best of the doshas to be, because it is the strongest. These kapha types are very well built people. They have a roundness to their faces and their bodies. They're very beautiful people. They have very symmetrical faces and bodies. and they have very good physical strength. And because of this strength and this strong nature that they are considered the best body type to be. The whites of their eyes are always clean and white, and their hair is often strong, stable, curly, and black. So if you think of these beautiful, round Indian women with this long, gorgeous black hair, this is the quintessential Kapha body type. Or if you think of native Alaskan Eskimo, those pictures of Native American Eskimos. They have this roundness to their bodies and their faces, and their tissues are very plump and round and not gaunt or sinking, which is sort of it's the look of beauty for today. But in Ayurveda, it's very different. Roundness, fullness is considered healthy and beautiful. Kapha types also are wealthy by nature. There's redness in the inner corners of their eyes, the inner canthus. They have very stable friendships in life, and they have wealth in life, and they're very generous people. They enjoy sweets, and this can be a challenge for them. And they have beautiful voices. So when they speak, their voices are strong and deep and very melodious. They take time to understand things, but once they do, they remember for a long time. They're very good natured, very helpful. They handle stress very easily, and they're very disciplined and committed in their studies. And when they speak deliberately. They tend to not speak they tend to be quiet people, I think. But when they speak, they know what they have to say, and they're like, this is, they lay it out very clearly. They're very patient, they're very tolerant, they're not greedy people, and they show a lot of respect to their teachers and their elders. And in their dreams, they have dreams of water and of birds. So this is Kapha. Now, do any of you have you determined your body type? Oh, okay, so Victoria is saying, "Oh, I'm Kapha all the way, LOL." How do each of these interact with each other? This is a good question. So the body types are, it can't be. Okay, Lisa is saying she's Vata. Okay, good. So the body types cannot really exist on their own. So there's never really I'm only Vata. No, that's very, very rare, very unusual. So usually there's a combination of these. This is more normal. So Vata is probably standing with Pitta, or it's standing with Kapha, or Kapha is with Pitta, or Kapha is with Vata. Yeah, one will be predominant, another one will be secondary. Okay, looks like you all know what you are. That's fantastic. Great. Okay, so Linda is saying she's Kapha Vata. Lisa, Vata Pitta then for sure. Okay. Hiva is saying mostly Vata and Kapha. Good. Pitta Kapha. Alternative balance. Thank you, Michelle. Danielle is saying Pitta and Kapha. Okay, great. Yeah. Yep. There's combinations. So you'll start to see these in other people. I'm sure you're all thinking of friends, family, and oh, this person over here is very Pitta. Yep, I have them in my life too. Okay. Victoria says, I'm only two in each, Vata and Pitta. My husband is Pitta for sure. Do opposites attract? Oh gosh, I don't know. Yeah, I think opposites can attract. I'm Pitta Vata. I have a lot of Kapha friends. I like Kaphas because I don't have much of that in my life. So I tend to really like Kapha people because I'm Pitta and Vata, and I don't have that I don't know. I don't have that cushion in my life in different ways. I tend to, have a little bit of a not a rough life, but like a not a comfortable life. I enjoy working, and I work out regularly. Yeah, I don't like to sit on the couch, but all these things are kapha. Sitting on the couch is nice and kapha promoting. Yeah, so I think we do tend to be drawn to different types of people for different reasons. Hmm. Okay, so let's see what is next. Okay, I'm sure all of you know this guy. Victoria has another comment. Because I'm so kapha, I feel like I push the others away with my strengths. Ooh, okay, Victoria. Maybe there's some pitta in there too. Yeah, kapha. Yeah, that's good. It's good to be kapha. It's good to be strong. That carries with you for your entire life. So kapha is a wonderful dosha to be. You need to keep it in balance with exercise. That's the best thing for kaphas. But kaphas have a wonderful advantage that strength really carries with you for your entire life. So that's a good thing. Joe Rogan. Okay, does anybody know or can anybody guess his prakriti, his dosha makeup? So we know Joe Rogan, he's a public speaker, he has a podcast, he enjoys talking, he's into martial arts, he's a little controversial, bald head, uh, looks very strong, right? There's strong bone structure there. So we can see some kapha in him, but there's also a lot of pitta. Yeah, Lisa's saying pitta too. Yep, there's a lot of pitta there. Hiva says pitta, definitely. Yep. Um, I've got some more examples for you. Okay, here's Lizzo. Yeah, so Lizzo's got that long, gorgeous hair, beautiful round body, really beautiful woman, melodious voice, right? She's very kapha, very, very kapha. I'm sure you all see that. Okay, and I'm drawing a blank. Celine Dion. Yes, yeah, Celine Dion. Vata body type, right? She's very thin, delicate, but she does have that beautiful voice. So she's got some kapha in there, and she's been in the news recently for some health challenges she's having. So her health challenges, I believe, she's having some issues with movement. I don't really know. I don't know the story. I don't know the specifics. Maybe somebody else does here, but she's definitely having some vata issues. So I hope she finds some relief. So Louise is asking, so that is the question. Do the doshas change in your life? Like my personality used to be very, very strong, and I've worked on softening it dramatically and more reflective listening, assertive, etc. So the doshas fluctuate a little bit. Um, and let me explain what that means. So we have this prakriti that we're born with. That never changes. That essential body type of who you are, what that state of balance is for you, that does not change. But in childhood, we are in a state of kapha. In adulthood, from the age of 16 to about 70, we're in a pitta time of life. Over the age of 70, we're in a vata time of life. So the doshas do fluctuate in that way. But your body type will always be the same. Doshas fluctuate on a daily basis as well. They fluctuate throughout the month in women and in men, and they fluctuate, with as our health changes. So one day I'm pitta vata, but one day I wake up with a cold. I've got a kapha imbalance, so I have to nurture kapha, take care of kapha. Yeah, so they change, they fluctuate. We achieve health. We go through all these cleanses to achieve health, and then the doshas, they need to be maintained on a daily basis. They have a tendency to go to imbalance. Okay, Victoria is saying it's stiff syndrome. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense with Celine Dion. Yeah. And Danielle is saying, Louise, what is natural for me and where I've made adjustments or grown. Yeah. So, yeah, right. So we have to know ourselves and we have to sort of adjust to society or to make adjustments, to manage our own interiority as we interact with other people in life. We can't be harsh if we're vata pitta. We can't just be harsh everywhere we go. We have to soften ourselves. That harshness is always at the heart of who we are. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. So I think I'll pause the sharing here. Actually, what will I do? I think I'm going to share something else with you guys. We talked about the body types. I'm going to put in the chat this handout that I have for you. It's called my personalized Ayurvedic health plan. And let's see if I can share my screen again, and I'll share this document with you guys in just a moment. Okay, so I hope you can see this. I'll make it a little bit bigger for you. Oh, it's not allowing me to make it bigger. Okay, I hope you can see this okay. Yeah, you can open it up in your own computer if you'd like, or on your phone. So this is a 16-page document on how to create a personalized Ayurvedic health plan. So now that you know your body type, we can go through this together and look at how to create a health plan based on that body type. So you know your body type. You also we're all throughout the country here, so there's different climates in the United States. In New England, we've got like a humid and a very wet environment. The southeast, it's hot and humid most of the year. Some parts of California or the Southwest have more of a desert environment. So the environment plays a role in how we determine our health. And then the season in Ayurveda also is a factor in what is going on with our health. We had everywhere throughout the US, I think, we had a really, really hot summer. And now we're moving into cooler weather. So we're perhaps in a seasonal transition. All of these things have an impact on how the body experiences health and wellness. So in the summertime, this is pitta season, right? So it's aggravating to heat in the body. If in this hot summer I was, job and was gardening all summer, I would probably develop a pitta imbalance. I'd get very hot. I'd probably become very irritable, very angry. I may get a rash. All kinds of pitta imbalances can come from the season. So seasonally, we can look at the season and look at, how do we maintain health in summer? Because it's so hot, what do we have to do to maintain health in the summer? So all of these factors need to be taken into account, not just your body type, but what is the season where you are, and what is the climate where you live? Very important to look at. The daily routine information is also important to do. It's very important to have a daily routine. It shouldn't be too complicated. Whatever you do for your health on a daily basis, it should be doable, right? And Ayurvedic therapies, at-home therapies, things like oil pulling or self-massage or herbal powder massage, these things can be added to the routine symptomatically as needed. Um, mm, So you can look up Ayurvedic daily routine online, and you can find a lot of information on it. But it really is like a blanket for, like a blanket, very generalized statement. So this is the routine to follow. It's not really true. You should have a routine that you can follow, that's easy to do, that's not too overwhelming. And it should make sense, and it should be tailored to you. So there are some contraindications that we're going to look at for the daily routine. So there is a concept in Ayurveda called ama. Ama is undigested food waste. Anytime we eat before the previous meal was digested, or if we have a habit of snacking throughout the day, or if we are, mm, let's see, yeah, snacking throughout the day, overeating, um, eating before that, eating before that previous meal was digested, we're not going to be able to digest that food. And so what happens to that substance that we've put in our mouths, that we've tried to digest, that we don't break down? In Ayurveda, it becomes this sticky substance called ama. And that ama is sometimes translated as toxins, but really what it is undigested food waste. And it causes a lot of problems. It can cause gas, a general discomfort in the body, headaches, dizziness, stiffness in the back, yawning, body aches, joint pain, all kinds of symptoms, food allergies, indigestion, a loss of taste, all because of this undigested food waste. So avoiding snacking is very important for most people. And ensuring there is hunger every time you have a meal is also very important. If there are any of these symptoms, if there is ama present in the body, this is the first thing that a practitioner will address with you if there is ama. So if you cannot taste properly your food or your supplements in Ayurveda, you're not going to get the benefits of those things. So this ama needs to be cleared up, and it can't be cleared up with exercise alone. Herbal supplements will help digest this ama. Um, Bathing guidelines. There are very important bathing guidelines in Ayurveda. So you should always bathe before eating and never after. Bathing has a lightening effect on the body. It should not be done excessively, especially during the menstrual cycle, because it's going to create some weakness in the body. And in a lot of women on their period, they are feeling weak already. So bathing should be minimized during that time. It's important to bathe twice a day if there's a kapha imbalance, if there's excess weight on the body, if there's a sticky sensation on the body. Bathing twice a day can be helpful. Also, if there's mental health conditions in the body, bathing twice a day is very important, or bathing once a day. A lot of times, kaphas will fall into the habit of not bathing every day, and so getting them to the point of bathing every day is very important and will be very helpful for them. The temperature when you bathe, it should be lukewarm to cool. It should never be very hot. Hot water is going to aggravate pitta dosha, especially on the head. You should never put hot water on the head or even on the eyes. Yeah, so those are some of the common bathing guidelines in Ayurveda. These are applicable for all people. So what do you do when you get up in the morning? The time you get up is important. So you should wake somewhere between the hours of 3 a.m. and 6 or 7 a.m. So kapha types should get up as early as possible. Kaphas tend to like to sleep in, but waking up early is going to be beneficial for them. And vatas, they tend to need that extra sleep, so they can sleep as late as 6 or 7 a.m. That will be supportive for them. So splashing the face and eyes with cool water is a very nice first thing to do in the morning. The eyes are an organ of pitta, so they should never be, nothing hot should ever be placed on the eyes. Brushing teeth with an herbal powder or an herbal toothpaste is very important. And in Ayurveda, they say that those people with a vata imbalance should not brush their teeth because it becomes too harsh. So in ancient India, what they were using to brush their teeth would be a twig. So they would chew on the end of a twig of a stick, usually a neem stick. And so they would chew it until it becomes brush-like, and then they would use this end of the stick to brush their teeth. And so it's a very harsh thing in the ancient tradition. And the neem sticks are very bitter, so they're aggravating to vata. Oil pulling. Oil pulling comes from Ayurveda, and it has become very popular lately, probably over the last 10 years. Oil pulling is a wonderful practice. It's great for the jaw muscles. It's supportive for the gums, the teeth, and different oils can be used. Herbal oils can be used. But if there's any ama in the body, this is a contraindication for oil. So if you know anything about Ayurveda, you've probably heard of oil massage, oil pulling. These are sort of the commonly understood practices of Ayurveda, but there are contraindications that not enough people are talking about. So if any indigestion or any allergies or any ama is present, then oil needs to be avoided. And once the ama is taken care of, then you can do therapies with oil. So oil pulling is fantastic, but shouldn't be done if there's ama or if there's some kind of indigestion or kapha imbalance. Oil massage is very supportive. Oil massage is a wonderful practice in Ayurveda. It has a lot of benefits for healthy people and also when there are imbalances of vata in the body, vata and pitta. Oil is contraindicated for kapha, and it's contraindicated again when there's ama. Exercise is important, but there are a lot of exercise guidelines, which I've written down at the bottom of this sheet. So exercise should happen in the morning only because it's cooler during that time of day, because it's kapha time of day when kapha is predominant in the body. So exercising during that time helps to process that kapha. Exercise should only be done on an empty stomach. I worry about these teachers at the gym that are, teaching exercise classes all day. They must be exercising with food in their bellies. If you have food in your belly and then you exercise to the point of breaking a sweat, that's going to create dosha in the body. That food is not going to digest properly. So it's important to have an empty stomach. And exercise should be avoided when menstruation is happening. And this would be helpful for a lot of women. I see a lot of women who have problems with their menstrual cycle. Either it's not coming on, it's delayed, or it's too heavy, or there's too much pain. All of these imbalances of the menstrual cycle, they come with all kinds of digestive imbalances as well. Um, so exercise should be done more so in wintertime because when you exercise is defined as movement to the point of breaking a sweat. So if you're not breaking a sweat, then you're not technically exercising according to Ayurveda. So if you are breaking a sweat, it's better to do that in winter time when it's colder out and that cold has nice support for you. And it should be minimized in the summertime when you're already, breaking a sweat just because you stepped outside. So more exercise in the wintertime. Let's see. Showering with soap and showering with an herbal powder. So there's a couple options. Showering with soap. Of course, you should use soap wherever you think you need soap. This is soap is a wonderful cleanser. But soap is for kaphas should be minimized. Herbal powder is more beneficial for kaphas to use in the shower, like a scrub. Yoga can be tailored to the body types, and it's a wonderful practice according to Ayurveda. And then some type of meditation or devotional practice is also really wonderful to do. So all of these things can, with being personalized for each individual, it can be done each morning. Oh, okay. Sorry, I was trying to change that incorrectly. Okay, so your yoga practice. Yoga can be tailored for the body types. Vatas being thin, being ungrounded, being delicate people, they benefit from heavier poses that build strength, poses that are seated, that are stabilizing to the body. Uh, they should avoid fast yoga. They should avoid distractions during yoga. Interruptions they should avoid, and they'll get a lot of stability from doing yoga. For pittas, they should favor more gentle poses. Moon-based poses are good for pitta. Back bends of all kinds are good for pitta because it opens up those channels in the body. Moving slowly is very good for pitta, and then being very gentle with oneself is good. Non-heated classes are very important for pitta types and also important for women who are entering perimenopause and menopause. Morning classes are good. Shavasana is good, that corpse pose at the end, or Yoga Nidra is also very supportive for pitta. And then for kaphas, kaphas need that exercise, so they should favor the doing exercise in the morning, more active types of yoga, more energetic poses. They should shower before and after yoga, and they can do yoga as early as 3 a.m. This will be very helpful for kaphas. They should avoid falling asleep during that shavasana. And they should avoid yin yoga, gentle yoga. They really need to be stimulated. Okay. So the moon cycle is really fascinating, the menstrual cycle, very fascinating in Ayurveda. During the period itself, this is Vata time. Vata is active. So there are certain guidelines for that time period. Eating lightly is very important. Avoiding hot baths during that time is very important. And then the 2 weeks following the menstrual cycle, after the menstrual cycle ends, this is the follicular phase. This is equivalent to a kapha type of experience. This is our most fertile time. Strength is greatest at this time. You can exercise to your full potential at this time, and you can enjoy heavier and richer foods during this time. During ovulation, this is equivalent to spring. So you should lighten up your diet a little bit, like you would in springtime, and you should avoid overeating. After ovulation, you go into the pitta phase, 2 weeks before the period, the luteal phase. This is equivalent to summer. So pitta starts to build up in the body. This is the time of the month when women experience emotional outbursts, or they tend to get aggravated, anxious, hot, irritable. Cooling drinks are very helpful. Reducing exercise is helpful during this time. And taking care of pitta is very important during this time. And then there's a nighttime routine in Ayurveda. So after meals and after dinner, you can walk 100 steps. This is just like a couple circles in the living room. You can go for a short walk around the block. This is very helpful for digestion. Screen time needs to be limited. Relaxing, resting, reading is good. And then there are guidelines for reproductive health. The time for intercourse is just before bedtime in Ayurveda, and bedtime should be somewhere between 9 and 10 p.m. There are important guidelines for reproductive health. You should not suppress any urges during intercourse. You should shower before and after sex. Avoid sex immediately after eating. So no more date nights where you have a big meal and then come home, and that needs to be changed. And sex should happen on a comfortable surface, on a comfortable bed. Otherwise, this could aggravate vata. And an excess of sex, how much sex or how little sex one is having, has an impact on one's health. And sex, like exercise, it should be reduced in the summertime. Winter is really the best time for intercourse, according to Ayurveda. So now we have these doshas, so the vata lifestyle, minimizing vata, or if you are predominant in vata, there are certain guidelines to follow. Warmth and steadiness are very important for vata body types. Regular meals at the same time each day, getting good sleep at night, a regular sleep and wake time, staying warm, dressing warm with warm colors, sipping hot water, moving daily, having a nourishing diet that's sufficiently heavy and has good quality oils, and having freshly cooked foods. All of these things are very important for Vata. There's certain tastes that you should have according to the dosha that's dominant. Vatas benefit from having a sweet, sour, and salty tastes in the diet. Pungent, bitter, and astringent foods should be minimized. And pink salt is actually the preferred salt in Ayurveda. Meals should be soft and warm in temperature and flavored with spices and with oils, and fatty or dark meats are also beneficial for Vata. And then the Pitta lifestyle. So Pittas need to, they benefit from regularity, they benefit from being gentle, avoiding too much exposure to heat. And a lot of heat can actually come from foods. So if we have a diet that has a lot of alcohol in it, alcohol produces heat in the body and spreads it throughout the body. So minimizing alcohol is important for Pittas. Maintaining calmness and clarity in the schedule by scheduling time for relaxation is very important for Pittas. Surrendering to what you cannot control is very important for Pittas. Having a cooling diet is beneficial. Avoiding snacking, following proper food combining guidelines. This is also very important for Pitta. Pittas also benefit from a sweet taste in the diet, but they will also benefit from astringent foods, bitter foods, cooling foods, drying foods, and extra drinks are nice for Pitta as well. Bringing sensuality into one's lifestyle with things like essential oils or soothing music, fresh flowers, pearls. All of these things are really nice and supportive for Pitta. And Pittas should avoid things that are pungent and sharp, heating foods, things like hot spices, sour foods, fermented foods. There's a lot of Pitta aggravating foods in our diets. Garlic is everywhere. And for those who are aggravated with Pitta, avoiding garlic can be very, very helpful. I think we have way too much garlic consumption in our lives, in our culture. So staying away from garlic, because it's so heating, can be very helpful, especially if one is having Pitta imbalance, things like hot flashes or night sweats. Avoiding or minimizing alcohol can be very helpful for Pittas. Avoiding saunas, avoiding hot yoga. All of these things we can do to bring balance to our body. We call this removing the nidana, removing the contributing factors to our imbalance. This is a very important thing that all of you can do, regardless of your Ayurveda training. You can always, recognize, if somebody is aggravated by anger or having anger issues, but they're drinking heavily, you need to remove that alcohol from their lifestyle. Or if they're indulging in saunas or working outside and they're having anger issues and it's a hot summer, then you know that getting them to do more work inside would be beneficial. So there are nice, easy ways that with this training from Ayurveda, with this perspective of Ayurveda, that you can help people find balance in their lives. And these simple things, when you're imbalanced and you're unsure what to do, it's hard to see it for yourself. So providing that mirror to people can be really very supportive and very helpful and very impactful. And then the kapha lifestyle. So kaphas, they need activity is really the best thing for kaphas. They're balanced with warmth and physical activity. So they need to make sure that they exercise. That is what's going to keep them healthy. They need stimulation in all kinds of ways, physically, mentally. Um, they need a regular routine for eating, and they need to be woken up early. So these people should be setting an alarm, exercising in the morning to the point of breaking a sweat. And this is going to be very supportive for them. They're going to feel great doing this. They may not want to do this. It may be very hard to get them to do this, but this is what is going to be very helpful for them. Foods that pacify kapha, bitter foods, things like dark leafy greens, arugula, black pepper, barley, chicken, horse gram, and honey. These are all wonderful foods for kapha. Kaphas should have these tastes in their diet: pungent tastes, bitter tastes, things that are heating, things that are light, dry, and warm. Popcorn is actually really, really wonderful for kapha. I had a kapha imbalance earlier this year, and I started snacking on popped sorghum, which I got from my local Indian market, and it was delicious. It was like popcorn, but it wasn't so. The kernels are smaller, so it wasn't so rough on your system. But I added some ghee, a little Himalayan pink salt, and it was delicious. And it was a really great source of fiber, and it really helped bring kapha back into balance. So kaphas should avoid sweet tastes. They should avoid cooling foods, moistening foods, cold foods, sugar, laziness, and daytime napping. The meals for kapha, they should be heavy enough to provide a feeling of fullness, but they should not be nourishing to the body. So barley is actually really great for kapha for this reason. Okay. Okay, I want to make sure that you guys have enough time for questions. There are certain ways of eating in Ayurveda. So you should never eat to the point where you're completely stuffed. Half of your stomach should be filled with food. A quarter of your stomach should be filled with water or liquid, and 1/4 of your stomach should be left empty. This is not what we typically do in our lifestyle. It's also very important not to overeat. It's important that food is cooked at home, which is another great thing that you can encourage your clients to do. Simply moving from eating out to cooking at home is going to have a big impact on people's health. And cooking simple meals. I encourage my clients that are very busy. I encourage them to take one day or one meal once a week, and they have a perfectly cooked one pot meal. So a one pot meal is great when digestion is poor. So if you are unwell or sick, or digestion is not right, you've been perhaps traveling or eating out all week because your schedule is so busy, having a one pot meal where you have a protein, maybe a dal or a meat, chicken thighs, for example, and you have a grain and you put some spices and some oil in the pot, and grain, some vegetables as well. All of this cooked together is going to be very easy to digest and very nourishing for the body. And this is a great way to reset digestion. And eating meals at regular times is important. For all my clients that are having meals like, oh, I don't eat at noon every day. Some days it's 11, and some days it's 2, and some days I don't eat at all. That needs to be stabilized, because when you're on a regular meal schedule, the gut and the elimination habits get on a regular schedule as well. So that's really important too. So when you select foods, selecting foods, it may seem complicated, but it's not that complicated. Foods should be the foods that you grew up with, foods that you're familiar with. If you're trying all kinds of foods that you've never eaten before, that can be hard to digest. So sticking with foods that you know you digest well is a good idea. Selecting foods for the season, warm weather foods or cold weather foods. We're moving into winter, so having winter vegetables is beneficial. Squashes and pumpkins and dark leafy greens, all of the things that grow in winter is going to be really nice for you. Grounding meals, nourishing meals like oatmeal and porridges of different kinds are really wonderful in winter. And then you can select foods according to the doshas. Is there an excess of kapha? Should you be eating light or having more bitter foods in the diet? Or, should the foods be low in spice? Is there too much pitta? Do you need more nurturing foods? Are you too vata in nature, and so you need more grounding in your diet? All of these things can be considered. So I have this list on page 15 of this, page 14, sorry. So this is a sort of like an overall list of Ayurvedic things to do in life, and you can go through this list and see, like, am I doing these things? Do I, what am I following and what am I not following? And where could I do better? And this is a really nice list of very basic things that you can think about to do. So the more that you can say, yes, I do these things, the better. And Ayurveda is really quite unusual. We're not familiar with these Ayurvedic concepts. So see what you can learn and see what you can adopt. And let me know if you have any questions. So I am offering free 30-minute consultations. I do work online as well as in person in Chattanooga. And I'd be happy to chat with you if you would like to discuss that. You can call me to schedule, or you can use the QR code here. You can check out my website, perimenopausemassageayurveda.com. And yeah, I'd be happy to talk to you further about Ayurveda. I also, I know a lot of the players in the Ayurveda space in the United States. So if I can answer the questions or help direct you to somebody else, I'd be happy to do that.